right, Nick, thank you so much for joining me. First of all, I've been wanting to do this with you for a while, and I love that we're doing it after you made MLB history. So, yeah, it's very cool. First pitcher in a single season campaign to have 4 holds along with 8 saves and 10 plus starts. What does that mean to you?
It's pretty cool. I didn't know about it. Friends and family were texting me, and I think it's pretty neat. I just think it's just being ready when your name is called, and kind of, when you have your priority to win a World Series, and I'm kind of up to do whatever it takes to help win. So that's been really my focus point right now.
I want to talk about that because your role has been shifting all season long, and you've handled it so well. Come in as a starter, then you're moved into the bullpen, and you work as a reliever, then you work as a closer. What has this been like for you to just have so much versatility this year?
Again, I think it just goes back to doing whatever the team needs at the moment, and a lot of that comes down to the communication that I've had with Bob and with Ruben, and them being very transparent and asking of me what they need at the moment, and kind of playing it out, maybe week by week or sometimes even day by day when it comes to how hot I'm going to be for that game. That's more on a day-to-day topic. And then we might look at the different roles and plan them out. And there was a couple times where I was in the rotation, then I was in the bullpen piggybacking, then I was back. I made a couple more starts and back to piggybacking, and then we saw me going kind of different roles in the bullpen. And I think it's just a lot of it comes down to the communication, and I guess where my priorities are in my life right now. And I want to win a World Series, so whatever that takes.
But you've had to prepare differently, right? Like, you've had to change the way you prepare, or is it mostly the same no matter what?
I've tried to keep it the same. I've definitely tried to keep the mentality the same. I think that was the biggest part. I've struggled in the past in these roles, and I think the biggest thing is the biggest adjustment that I've made is the preparation and the mindset, and I've been able to keep those very consistent this year, and I think that's been helping me on the field. In the past, that's something that I've struggled with, and I think I got a good grip on it now.
When fans talk about you, sometimes they're always impressed with the way that you handled all the movement, because a lot of times the talk about you is team guy, never sat around and pouted maybe that you weren't starting or things like that. Did you recognize that at the time? I mean, would old you have ever done that, or would you maybe have treated it a little bit differently at a different time?
Yeah, I think in the past I did treat it differently. When I did it with the Rangers, I was upset, pouting a lot, and wanted to be a starter. And over here, I still want to be a starter. I still like that routine, and I'm still doing that. But again, since my, I've gotten more mature, and I've learned how to handle it a little bit better. And ultimately, helping a team win a World Series and being a part of that is very crucial and very important to me. And I think with all this communication that we're having, they know that I can start. They know I can do this, and that I'm up for the challenge. And so that helps me. Then knowing that they trust me in those positions, that gives me confidence and helping up. And then at the end of the day, I've talked this with multiple players. We're at the end of our careers, we're hardly remembered for the exact stats and what we do, yes. and we're more defined by what type of teammate, what type of player he was, and what type of person he was. That's who. That's what defines us.
It's such a great point, too, because you have really bailed this team out in multiple situations, many times in all the roles you've had. Your journey, too, like you were in Japan, you were pitching in Japan for 4 seasons, for 4 years, right before this year. Is this the outcome as far as just being the guy on the mound that you were hoping for when you went to Japan to try to change things about yourself?
Yeah, I think so. That's a good question. Yeah, I went over there, and it was a very unique and it was a great opportunity for me to grow as a person, as a ball player, and it was an opportunity for me to develop my craft. And I did that physically, and I left with that physically, but I also matured mentally, and I've been able to put myself in situations to help the team.
On the mound, it seems like you're always, even if you're in a bit of a bind or you're in a jam, just going back to how mentally tough you've become, there never feels like you can't get out of it. Like, there's this presence about you out there that feels like you're going to be able to get out of it, and you've gotten out of it so many times too. I think that helps also.
Yeah, that's been a learning curve for me too. There's been plenty of times in my career where I've always had confidence that I can get out of it, right? And I've had obviously I feel like especially at this level, everyone's had the confidence to, at some point. And earlier in my career, I've failed at those times, but I've never stopped believing that I can do it. And so I've just, again, that opportunity in Japan has allowed me to, have confidence in myself and knowing that I can get out of it. And then whenever I get in those jams, try to simplify it and take it one pitch at a time, and you worry about executing one pitch and see where you are after that one pitch. And do I got to execute another one? All right, another one. And as a starter, you execute one pitch at a time. At the end of the game, you have 100-something pitches that you've executed. And as a reliever, you may, it's the first one. Next thing you know, you got your team out of a jam. So as long as I have that mentality of one pitch at a time out there, the confidence knowing that I can get myself out of that jam, on top of, hey, again, what we just talked about, this doesn't define me as a person, then let's be aggressive. Let's leave it out there and see what happens, right?
Let it roll. I love it. How did you develop that mentally, though? Like, how did you? What do you think? What was it that made you change? Like you say, it was Japan, but like, what about it? Like, what?
I've done a lot of stuff, but I guess ultimately life happened, right? I have a family, and I have 2 girls and a wife to go home to that look at me and want to play, want to hang out with me, regardless of how I do out there on the field, right? So my daughter doesn't know, how well I'm doing or what I'm doing. She just wants dad home to play and hang out. So that really opened my eyes to, like, baseball, isn't the end of the world. And so when I was younger, maybe I brought my work home with me whenever I didn't do well. And, having kids allows me to, leave work at work, and my number one priority is to be a dad. So
what about Japan do you remember the most? Is like, what did you enjoy most about the culture and being there? And because 4 years, that's a long time, and you probably learned a little of the language. Like, can you talk with you a little bit about stuff?
I give him little phrases here and there. I can't hold the conversation, but I throw little phrases at him and he'll laugh. Or
I love that.
And I was same with Yuji and Sushi. So I'll throw little phrases out there, but my favorite is dinner time with the guys. Maybe we'll have an off day the next day, so the night before an off day we'll get together with everyone who's around the same age. We'll have dinner. They usually pick a pretty cool spot, and you get to really see how the culture works and how the seniority works, and you're at dinner for like 4 or 5 hours, just kind of hanging out, talking, eating nonstop, trying different foods you never had or you can only have in Japan, and those times are real special that you can't get anywhere.
Do you miss any foods from Japan that you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. They call it yakiniku, which is just like Japanese barbecue. The steak over there is the best in the world, man. It's delicious, and I definitely miss that type of food. They are amazing at desserts too. There isn't. Yeah. Okay. You can't go by without having some sort of ice cream or some sort of pastry. They have a cookie, even like some of the simples, it's delicious. They crush it. They do such a good job with it.
You gotta tell Darvish to like get you some.
He brings some sweets in every now and then. There are some. He's also brought in some things. It's these fermented beans. It's called natto. It's disgusting. Oh. It's awful. Like, nope. I hate it. But it's very nutritious. It's like a superfood, but I do not like it at all. And he's brought it in, and he tried to make me have some, but I already tried it once. I didn't like it, so we had the other starters try it.
Nice. It's fun too because you can kind of punk them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you guys.
Yeah, you give them only the good stuff. You tell them like, hey, try these beans from Japan. They're really good for you, and they are. That's the truth. There's like a superfood over there. But you forget to mention how bad they taste.
Let them find that out on their own. You know what I'm saying? When you come off the mound, you've had a good outing or whatever. Like you are pumped up. I mean, that's authentic you, right? Like that.
Yeah, I try to show just the positive emotions. You know, anything negative happens, I try to look at it neutral or all right, that's just the situation I'm in. What do I want to do now, right? If something's negative that's happening, but the positive emotion, I like to show that because I feel like it can swing the momentum. It can fire my guys up. And at the end of the day, like once I execute a pitch, once I throw a pitch, my job is done, right? Like whatever happens, I've almost become a fan now. So like when a guy makes a nice play, I'm like, that's freaking awesome, right? So like I turn into a fan for that split second in those big moments.
I got to go into the energy drinks. So you told me a story back, I think it was almost like before the All-Star break, but you had some P4, right? And it was dry, that powder that you mix, and it's like and what is it? It's a
pre-workout.
It's a pre-workout, so it gets you going, right?
Yeah,
and
gets you going. My wife's not gonna be too happy. She's been trying to calm me down. I told her about it a couple weeks ago, and she's not too happy with it.
Because you just down the powder, like.
Yeah, I'll have like so I'll do like some coffee before the game, right? And then I'll have a couple Red Bulls throughout the game.
I've seen you just pound Red Bulls, like standing here.
I'll have a couple Red Bulls, and then I'll have a shot of P4 of pre-workout, a dry shot of P4, and then I'm all jacked up, So that's where you're seeing me release some of those emotions out there.
Has this always been your throughout your career?
I've always had like a couple Red Bulls and stuff. I've always felt like maybe like the last 2 or so years is I've started to play with more passion and like kind of just being my true self. Before, I've always thought that you wanted to show that you're even keel. So early on in my career, you wanted to show everyone, didn't matter how good or bad you are, you wanted to be even keel. And guys that are really good at that, you look at like Kyle Hendricks is really good, just even keel. Drew Smiley's the same way, very even keel, and I know both those guys. And didn't matter if it was good or bad, same outcome. And that's good and all, but I like to show emotion. I like to play with passion. That's one of the reasons why we play, right? We play for the passion of this game, so why not show some of that passion?
I love that. That's awesome because some guys are naturally even keel or that's their thing. But if you're not that, it's probably hard to make yourself that.
Right. So like early on in my career, I was like forcing myself to be that even keel guy, and that really wasn't who I was. I like to pitch all jacked up. I like to show some emotion. So the last few years is when I started doing it. Yeah.
Here's the other great thing that I don't think people know about you is you pace. And when you were starting, it would be between innings, so it'd be like the first, 5-6 innings. And I'm talking, you never sit. It is you'll stop and you'll cheer something on, like if the guy makes play or whatever. But then you'll just keep going. Yeah. Bob has mentioned, Bob Melvin, that like sometimes he can feel you back there. He can feel you going. Has that always been because he? No.
Going back to like being the guy, supposed to sit on, growing up and coming up. And through the system, they got the camera would pan into the dugout, and you'd see the starter like, kind of like just hanging out. Yeah, very just looking into it and like, oh, that guy's he's locked in, And I'm just like, I would try doing that, and I would just be thinking too much, maybe overthinking about the game, bite my nails. And again, I think a side effect of all the Red Bulls and P4 is probably me pacing, but it also allows me to be in the moment, right? I'm in the moment. I'm in the game. I'm not sitting down, allowing my thoughts to take over. Sometimes our mind is like our biggest enemy sometimes. So if I'm sitting, then my mind will start to try to play tricks. But if I'm walking around, engaging with the game and engaging with my teammates in here, then I can, there's information to be had in here too, I feel like, right? Like if I can start, if I'm one of those guys that sit down, then no one's going to bother me. But if I'm walking around, maybe Joe or Darvish says, hey, this guy, he looked different on this swing, or hey, it looks like when you make this pitch, you're mechanically something. They're more. I feel like I'm more approachable if I'm walking around, and then plus I get to see all the cool plays that we do. A big hit, I'm up there cheering, so I like all that stuff.
Okay, another cool thing that you did, you played in the Olympics, right?
That was awesome.
Yeah, like how does that compare? Where does that kind of fall, and how did you get to do that?
That's up there, man. That's right, number one. That's the top spot.
It's amazing, and I read that you brought your silver medal because you live in Miami, right? Yeah. So you brought your medal to the clubhouse and let everybody see it and everything. But like, I don't know that everybody would think that, but it's got to be what made it the top spot?
When we get drafted, there's something in our mind that tells us, hey, if I work hard, if I keep at it, I'll get my chance. I'll get my shot. And it doesn't happen for a lot of guys, but it does happen, right? Like you're gonna get your shot at the major leagues, or I always felt like that was gonna be true for me, right? As long as I worked my butt off, I was gonna get a shot at the major leagues. But when it came down to the Olympics, it goes beyond that.
Yeah.
It goes towards character. It goes towards if he's gonna mesh well with the guys that they already picked. You also have to be pitching well. It goes beyond just baseball, and I felt just incredibly lucky just to be considered and to be chosen. It was an incredible honor.
What is like the highlight? Like, what do you remember the most about that whole experience? Because there's got to be a lot of great stuff, but
you're gonna get me to cry. No, just getting chosen. Yeah. Just getting chosen. I remember the phone call and the call of my parents. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
You called your parents, you let them know, and
yeah.
That is so cool. And now that is still like the thing to be, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
I love that. Where do you keep your medal in your house?
In my room for now. Yeah. Nice and tidy in my room. Designing my office now, and I'll probably display it in there.
You gave Juan Soto your number. He's supposed to give you a watch. Yeah. Did that come yet?
Yeah, we got the watch. Yeah.
Do tell, my friend.
I don't really want to get too much into detail because it's
a player thing.
It's and he's the one that got it for me. So, but he got me the watch. It's a beautiful watch.
It's not a boat, but you like it still.
The boat, I know I'll get. This is something I would never really have paid for myself.
Yes.
So it'll be special, near and dear to me for a long time.
Any hobbies in the off season? Anything? I mean, obviously you're busy as a dad, you're busy as a baseball player, but anything that you like to do that
Yeah, I go fishing. I grew up going fishing and spear fishing, and we do a lot. We do that as much as possible. In the winter in Miami, it's a little bit harder to get out on the boat to do some fishing. The weather's not ideal that time of year, so we'll try to get out there. But I just recently, this past off day, I went out spear fishing with Hack and a couple friends of Rogo's. So that was
some good stuff.
Yeah, we shot a few mahis. It was a lot of fun.
All right, you have a player option after this year. You can opt out every year of your contract. Really, what is it like for you? I mean, do you still want to start? Would you have to have a more defined role in order to come back?
I haven't really given that much thought, honestly. I'm really just focused on this year and winning World Series. That's still going to be the top of my priorities, winning World Series. So I'll let the agents and AJ get into all that with the contracts, and I'll listen to their advice when it comes to the end of the season. But I think again, I know my ability to start. I also believe the team knows my ability in starting. They know that I can do more than that now. So my priority at the end of this year, regardless if we win a World Series, if we win a World Series, great. The goal to be another World Series. Okay. So my goal now is just to win a World Series. Yeah, however that comes,
Sean Manaea just walked by, and your locker is next to his. I mean, do you sometimes look at go, this guy's just crazy, man?
That's my guy right there. He's he's the best. Talk about bringing energy into a room. He lifts everyone's spirits. He keeps everyone loose. He's our microphone guy on the bus. He's saying the craziest things. Just making everyone laugh, making everyone
grab the mic and go off.
Yeah, go off. Say ridiculous things, say funny things, outlandish things that don't even make sense. And what is that? And then it just brings everyone together. And his energy is crucial to our team for sure. Yeah.
Nick, I appreciate the time. You've done an incredible job. The season isn't over, so you're going to continue to do an incredible job. But I appreciate it. I know the fans have just loved watching you and love the energy that you bring and all that.
Yeah, thanks.